Okay. Blessings from Potchefstroom. It's an absolute honor to present to you our very first whiteboard session, interactive session. It will be covering nursing service management, our third-year students. And I am Dr Bester. Some of you have seen my name on documentation. Some of you have perhaps emailed to me queries. And today I also want to greet especially our Johannesburg students. I want to say to our Johannesburg students, I received your query about the move to a new facility. Johannesburg students, I waited until this first session to give you the first whiteboard experience and from there explain to you why we decided last year to transfer your study center to the current school where you are. We are looking into other facilities in Johannesburg, but being there at your facility today, you are viewing a groundbreaking experience in nursing education in South Africa, and that is that we are connected today with technology to work together. So we have approximately an hour and a half available, and we're going to work today on the second learning unit of NSMT311 called Strategic Management. Firstly, I want to explain to students that you are welcome to take down any questions that you have during the session. This PowerPoint presentation will be available to you via Facebook and Ifundi. Just take it back one page. Just want to take it back to the previous page. There you go. You are more than welcome to SMS to us.
Jammer. Johannesburg het klank verloor.
Ja, Polokwane het ook klank verloor asseblief.
Port Elizabeth ook.
Welkom ook.
Vryheid ook.
Kimberley ook.
Rustenburg ook.
The sound is gone here at White River.
No sound yet visual.
There's no sound in Durban.
Hello? Okay. Good morning, thank you. We're going to continue. I've also had some students coming into the class now, and I want to introduce all of you to the Nursing Service Management 311 lesson for today on the interactive whiteboard, and especially a warm welcome to our study center in Johannesburg. I want to explain to our students in Johannesburg, I received your letter. I received your complaint and your discomfort to traveling to the Weltevreden Park Primary School, but I waited deliberately for you to see our first interactive whiteboard session so that you can understand why we decided last year to relocate the center, give you this opportunity to experience our groundbreaking technology in nursing education in South Africa, and from there on we are in the process to search for study centers nearer to Soweto. But without any further ado, on the screen you can see that there is an SMS line for you available. If you have any query today from this lesson that you want to discuss, you are more than welcome to SMS that. It will come to me and I will be able to assist you. This is how it will work also for all our whiteboard sessions for the rest of the year. But you are also welcome to contact us via Twitter. There is a handwritten Twitter address for those of you that is already Twitter fit. And then you are also welcome to send me an email. If we look at NSMT311, NSMT311, Strategic Management, we are today focusing on Study Unit 2, and Study Unit 2 is referred to as Strategic Analysis. Under Strategic Analysis, we will look at two types of analysis, external analysis, as well as what enables you as a strategic manager, as a strategic nursing service manager, to make strategic decisions. Waar gaan hy aan? Here I've listed a whole long list of outcomes for Study Unit 2. But as I just wish to summarize the outcomes of Study Unit 2, which we will cover today in this session, and that is that at the end of this study unit, and at the end of this contact session today, I would like you to be able to discuss for me a strategic, a framework for strategic decision making. And that framework we can describe as what will enable you as a strategic manager in nursing service management to make a strategic decision. What is the information that you need to know about your industry and about your competitors to make a strategic decision? Okay. Let us start. Let's quickly go to the Dell website. You have seen in the textbook that there was a study guide on the Dell website. Now, for you, some of you that did not have the opportunity to read the case study of Dell, I have added for you the Dell website to discuss. And as you can see, this is the Dell website. It is a company that focuses on computer technology. It is more known for the Dell brand. We'll come back just now. For the Dell brand, the Dell products. But in actual fact, the Dell company enabled successfully to cut out the middleman in the age where computers exploded. The time when computers became a household product, you still had to go to a middleman to assist you to compile technology to be used. But Dell came with strategic management and compiled a system where you could get your tailor-made computer within a very short period. So you can see there that Dell caters for clients at home. There we go. They have a very big service for clients for home-based computers, desktops, electronics, etc. They also cater for small and medium businesses. And then Dell can also cater for small and large enterprises. Now, let's quickly put the Dell website into this perspective of the services rendered in terms of healthcare in South Africa. I'm going to ask the Potchefstroom group that's sitting here with me to share with the country quickly. What will you say if we look at a service rendered to people at home? What type of service will that be? Let's quickly hear what the Potchefstroom group has to say. What healthcare service can be rendered at home? A delivery of a baby is a service that can be conducted at home. Perfect. What type of service can be rendered by a professional nurse in the South African healthcare system in a small organization? Small to medium organization. Occupational health, absolutely. Where the professional nurse can be mobile, be in a small organization where she can be, for example, instrumental to have an HIV policy in place, do sifting tests. And how can healthcare be rendered in South Africa to a major enterprise? Say, for example, what can be more major in South Africa than our primary health care that we render throughout the country? So can you understand by this how we can talk about the Dell Corporation as selling computers and as strategic management to bring computers in a very short time to people at home, delivery at home, to smaller enterprises like, for example, occupational health, but also it can be for your smaller clinics, for your smaller daycare centers, and then also to have services available for major enterprises. And I don't know if I'm incorrect. If I am, please send me an SMS. But I think we will have to go very far to beat our primary healthcare services in South Africa to look at a larger healthcare enterprise. I don't think our private sector can be that large with regard to patient care. It might be as large with financial resources. Okay. So, let me close the Dell website here. You are more than welcome on your free time when you get this. Just go back to the PowerPoint. When you get this this PowerPoint presentation, you can go to the Dell link that you've seen here on the screen. It's already an active web link. And if you are connected on your cell phone or if you have internet connection, then immediately if you click on that link, it will open for you the Dell website. Ultimately, Dell came to show us that to change a business implies major decision making. decision making can only be done if you have information available. That's why I want to ask each one now throughout South Africa to please take out a clean piece of paper. You will not be required to hand this in, so don't be afraid of white paper or your handwriting. I quickly want to ask you to write on the top of the page for me the name of the industry, the business, the organization, the service where you are employed at. It can be private, it can be public, it can be NGO. Okay, so you write for me at the top of the page the name of the industry that you are employed at. Then, first step, write for me, in your own words, 5 distinctive characteristics of this industry. What is distinctive characteristics of this industry? It can be the rendering of specific services. It can be in the form of patient care, patient information, training. Give me 5 characteristics of what this industry where you are employed at delivers or conducts or sell or produce. I don't know about the rest of the country, but some of my Potchefstroom colleagues actually have to think of 5 characteristics of what must be produced or delivered. Okay, now that you have 5 distinctive characteristics of what is actually the output of the industry where you are employed. Step 2, I want to ask you now a difficult question. It's going to take some thinking, energy. I want to ask you, if you look back over the past 4 years, can you identify any major changes or initiatives that were activated in this industry? Any major changes? These major changes can also be new initiatives. It can be a new product. It can even imply closing of a certain product. Now I want to ask you, don't worry, nobody will see your answer. Was this change or were these new initiatives to the benefit of your industry? Did your industry have major financial losses? Did it cause major employee dissatisfaction? Did it cause extreme dissatisfaction with your clients, with your patients? And then finally, I want to ask you, this new venture that happened in your industry, did it happen elsewhere in similar industries also? Was it a fashion that came and happened in all the industries, or what happened to your competitors? I always love to use this example of if you have two private hospital groups in South Africa. I will stay anonymous for personal safety. But if you have two private hospital groups in South Africa and one group starts with a venture to let more patients come and do deliveries in their maternity unit, how long does it take for patients to see, okay, but if we go to this hospital for our delivery, we have additional extras. So the pressure is on for the other hospital group to either come up with a better idea or to initiate the same idea than their competitor. Now I quickly want to ask my facilitators throughout South Africa listening to this whiteboard, just to ask a few, let's say 2 students in your class to take 2 minutes and share the information with the rest. I'm going to do exactly the same now here in Potchefstroom. Kom share 'n bietjie met my. Colleagues, I just had an idea now. I'm going to bring one of my students here. If you are situated now in a situation where your students don't want to participate, I'm quickly going to give this to one of the students to give feedback quickly to the rest.
Good morning, South Africa. I want to share with you the what is it? The department that I'm working for. I'm working for Gauteng Department of Health, based at Mirafong Sub-District. And then what we render there is a primary health care package. And then we have a health services, minor ailments. We also have chronic ailments, and then well baby clinic and health promotion as the services that we render. And then the new changes that happened in the past 4 years is the rolling out of ART, that is the antiretroviral therapy, to all PACs in the community level, and then also the nurse initiation management of ART to patients. So nurses are now rolling out antiretroviral therapy. They don't have to wait for doctors. Patients do not have to wait for doctors because we have a shortage of doctors. What was the last question?
Was there any negative or positive effects?
Okay, in our community we did not have any negative, but we had all positive effects because all our patients have now access to treatment, and most of the people are now getting better with HIV. They are going back to work for their families, so there's no burden of death. And then Yes, it was rolled out in South Africa, the whole South Africa. That is the impact. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hope that now, in each group at our study centers, students got the opportunity to quickly share their application for us. In essence, for today, I want to say that to make the right decision in strategic management implies that you have the right information. You will find that this textbook will use the word intelligence. The concept intelligence is used from chapter 3 to from chapter 4 to chapter 7. And this intelligence, colleagues, is actually what we can translate back to say that it is all about having sufficient information on different levels of your industry to make the best decision. Now, I always explain to my students here in Potchefstroom that when it comes to strategic management, I can really say, sometimes we can say, it is war. Strategic management sometimes means that you have to make choices in your industry to be ahead and advancing your competitors, to get market share, to outwit your competitors with a new venture, with a new direction, and to make sure that this new venture will not cost you too many resources or capability. So if we look at strategic analysis, it's all about getting to know the whole environment in which your organization, your industry is positioned. And by knowing this, you can make a better decision. Now, I don't know about you, but in what profession can this be better applied than in nursing, where you are already trained to think according to the nursing process? So in the nursing process, you will really have excellent skills to assess your patient, your environment, your community. And then from that assessment, you will draw your nursing diagnosis. Well, let's put this into strategic management. Your patient in strategic management is the industry where you are employed at, as well as the environment around this industry, surrounding this industry. And that is called the macro environment. It's understanding what is the realities, the dynamics, the pressures, the opportunities, the strengths within your core business where you are situated. And then, finally, it is to ask yourself which current processes in your industry where you are situated is functioning optimally or not. Now, in the past, you will find that strategic management textbooks always had the SWOT analysis. Whom of you can relate to this? I think if you did management on second year level, you can identify with the SWOT analysis. I'm quickly going to ask my students here in Potchefstroom to help me understand what the SWOT stands for. Let's quickly hear. S is for strength. W is for weaknesses. O is, and T is for, and this is internal to your organization, and this is external to your organization. Now, in this new strategic management textbook that you have, there's a slight difference whereby the authors of this textbook have explained that the plain SWOT analysis has become a bit overused and overexposed, and that we must actually look at more than just your internal and external factors, and that they started to use the words competitive intelligence, which refers to your external environment, your competitors, and your business intelligence, that refers to your internal environment. And I think if you go through your study guide and textbook now, and you take this into consideration, you will have a very good understanding of the change in the use of the words here. So in summary, if you want to make a strategic decision in your place of work, then, according to this textbook, it is for you to understand your business intelligence, which is an extensive assessment of the internal environment of your organization. But you also have to know your competitors. You must have your competitive intelligence, which is your external environment. And usually this would have been our SWOT analysis. But now we say no. You need to do something with this information. There must be mechanisms integrated in your business that you must use to take this information to make the ultimate strategic decision. Let's first look at the macro environment. It seems to me, if I look now at my students in Potch, if I've missed them now for a moment, have I missed you somewhere? Are you with me? Okay, wonderful. So let's see. We spoke about 4 concepts now. Firstly, we spoke about you have to look at your external environment, which is your competitive intelligence. Competitor intelligence. Let's translate that. That is your enemy. It's your, let me think of another word to explain that. It's your competition. It is the other industry that wants to use the same market share than you are. So you have your competitive intelligence. That's the first concept. You have your business intelligence. That is what is actually internal. What is the people, the processes, the systems internal to the industry? Where is the customer? Where is the supplier? Then we say that you have your integrated mechanisms where you must do something with what you have assessed. That's part of the assessment process. Then finally you will make your decision. That will be your nursing diagnosis. So first, when we look at competitive intelligence, we see that there are certain factors in the macro environment of your industry that you need to take into consideration. Simplified, that refers to that healthcare in South Africa, primary healthcare, the rollout of a primary healthcare package is not isolated from the rest of the world. Let's, for example, look at just a few political and legal political and legal factors that impact on a primary healthcare outrole in a community. Think, for example, of current situations if patients are complaining about delivery of water, fresh water, and electricity. Think about the legal implications if a patient does not sign consent for treatment, or if you are working with a minor that is not yet 18 years old, or if you are not doing the correct disclosing method in HIV. Let's think of the economic factors that impact. Sometimes I think of the economic implication for a patient to spend a whole day's time at a clinic to walk or go to a taxi and then have a transport fee, and then being at the clinic for the whole day and could not get payment for that day for work, for example. Think of the economic challenge to provide ARVs to our patients in the community. Let's think of the demographics. I am sure a lot of you will be able to explain to me demographic challenges in your area, where you have an infrastructure that actually cannot cope with the demand of the population there. Let's think of population growth and the impact that that might have as part of demographics. Let's think of the social, cultural. I think for time's sake, I'm going to run through. Just think of changes that's happening globally and the impact that it has on industry. Our natural environment, the change in climate is a good example that we experience in Potch at this stage and the impact that it might have. Technology. I hope today is a good example to you of the impact of technology that we have to take into consideration. Now, as a strategic manager, you becoming the nursing service manager that needs to make strategic decisions, you must always ask yourself, I have no control whatsoever regarding these factors. They will always be there. I can only look at the changeability, how stable will these factors be for a certain time, and how predictable will these factors be over a certain time. If we have a quick overview over industry analysis, and we look at the internal, then I want to take you back to the very first step of the exercise that we did at the beginning of the session. And this exercise was where I asked you to quickly name and list characteristics of the industry where you are employed. And that's the first step, is to really know which business you are in. Only if you know in which business you are in, you can start to look at the boundaries of this business. What is the boundaries? What is the scope? Where must this business be rendered? Who are all the role players that must be part of this business? What is the geographic challenges that's part of rendering this business? Then in your textbook you will find that there is an explanation which I've summarized for you onto one slide. And I've called it the steps of the internal analysis of the industry that you are working in. In other words, as the nursing service manager, when you deliberately divert your attention towards your industry, what must you look at for answers for a strategic decision? Firstly, you should be able to define your industry. We have discussed that. Secondly, you have to be able to look at the three distinctive factors that can actually make your industry a good industry. You have to be able to list your customers. It's easy to say that patients are customers, but if we refer to customers, we know it's a very broad description. You have to be able to ask yourself, what is your competition? And what is the whole corporation? The third step is to, this is extremely important, understand the relationships that shape the industry. I want to challenge you, when you are bored, Google the concept of social entrepreneuring. Social entrepreneuring. To become a social entrepreneur. To understand that the relationships in your industry is extremely important for you to know your industry and to make the right decision. And then the fourth step is to understand your industry's life cycle. I'm sure you have heard about that before, but some people talk about the S cycle, and it refers to when you start up with a venture. It has a rapid development phase, and then a rapid growth phase, and then it has a decline phase when it matures. Now, what we want you as a strategic manager is to identify where are your industry in this growth cycle. And if your industry is in the maturing and in the decline phase, what new strategies must be brought in here to have a new venture with a new development phase? This is the only way to ensure sustainability in your industry. Otherwise, you're going to start with a service in your industry, and your service will have a termination phase. So as the strategic manager, be aware of your maturation and your decline. Start with your new strategic decision making actually sooner than here already. These are questions that you have to ask yourself to understand what is going on inside your industry. Whom of you know, I don't know what is the ratio today of colleagues that is employed in the private healthcare sector, but I'm convinced that there might be many listening today. So I want you to share with your group today what drives your competitors. And how do you really know that what your hospital group or corporation is rendering to patients, how do you know that that is really what patients want? If we look at the modern patient today, what do we know of what this patient really wants? I'm quickly going to ask you just to take 2 minutes to discuss that amongst yourselves. If there's a person in the group representing a private industry today, indicate for us, how do you know from your industry if what you are doing to patients is what the patient, the modern patient really wants? How does the modern patient look like? That person that you want to have a choice to come to your private healthcare institution, what do they really want and need? I'm going to ask my group here in Potchefstroom to share that with me as well. Can we say, for example, that our modern patient here in Potchefstroom wants value for money and they want quality care? What else? They want easy access to a facility. Let's see if we can get one more reason or one more description here from the Potchefstroom group of what they think the patient might want. Comfort. Colleagues, the big message today is that we think we know. We think we know our customers. We think we know our competitors. But we don't necessarily know them. We don't necessarily know what is the need of the patient that's coming through our doors, entering our hospital. We think we know what to deliver to them to make sure they will come back for their second cesarean section. But we don't really know. We think we know our competitors. But how do we really know what our competitors know? If I refer back to the term of strategic management, is grabbing market share. It's using sometimes aggressive words. You must have a market share takeover. What more can I say than that? It's an aggressive expression of what's happening to get your market share. Well, translated in plain English today, colleagues from the private healthcare industry today, know your customer, understand that market segment. That's usually done through market research, and also know your competitor. Know your competitor. Translated into my plain expression is know your enemy. The person that's sitting around the round table making decisions to grab your market share in the private healthcare sector, you must know that company. If we look at your industry and understanding your industry better, then you must know what is the resources in your industry and how valuable is your resources. And I think if I'm reading my group's behavior here, they are getting tired. So what I'm going to suggest now is for you to take note of the slide, to take note of, we talk about competitive advantage, to read what that means, how appropriate is your resources. You might think your resources are extremely appropriate, but is it? Very important. If you have a new strategic venture in your company, how sustainable is that? And fourthly, to read then, how exploitable is it? Exploitable is how can you take your research and use it actually, or apply it for something else. In summary, I just want to have your attention, if we look at this slide, to value chain analysis. And value chain analysis is a concept that you will definitely hear in management. You will hear that also in strategic management, especially in our major ventures. And that is a mechanism, a tool that's available for you to know what is your resources and your capabilities that you have at present in your industry, and how can you change or optimize your value chain in order to have a better outcome. So, let's do a final creative exercise here. Let us position strategic management within healthcare in South Africa. Firstly, at the beginning, we said that you must be able to identify your industry. This is a very important exercise because you will find in your assignments, in the test and in the exam that I continuously will refer back for you to apply your strategic management knowledge to the South African perspective. Now, if we look at the South African perspective, we have to say that we have a dualistic healthcare system in South Africa. This dualistic system refers to our private healthcare systems versus our public healthcare systems. If we look at our private healthcare system, if we really want to know the system, we must say that this system has specific competitor intelligence and have specific business intelligence. For the private healthcare systems, competitive intelligence, for example, are the change of the rand-dollar rate. If you think you are in the private healthcare industry and you want to import brand new technology, scanning technology to be used preoperatively to save theater time, and you want to import equipment, whatever you have calculated as the rand value of that equipment will definitely be fluctuating if you look at the current financial status. Can we change that? No, we can't. It's an external factor. We can only predict it. In other words, in your strategic management, you predict that there might be a change in the rand, and you predict and then plan how to accommodate that. If we look at our business intelligence for our private sector, then we have to take important factors into consideration, such as what is the profile of our customers? Where is the market share? How can I get this market share? How can we make sure that in a population where there is an 8% of patients with any form of medical aid cover, how can we make sure that the largest market share of that 8% will come to your facility and not go to a competitor's facility? Know your customer, know your market share, know your competition, your competitors. If we apply strategic management decision making to the private sector, then we say that the reality is that approximately, now, this is not 100% correct, but let's say 42 million people in South Africa is dependent on your public healthcare sector. It changes the view completely. So what must you know when it comes to competitor intelligence and business intelligence if we think of the public healthcare industry? It might be that where you are situated in your place of employment at this stage, it's really something that you cannot be bothered with. Whether you have market share, it's not applicable to you. You have market share. Whether you have competitors, it's not applicable to you. Or the profile of your customers, it's not applicable to you. Then I want to ask you, okay, how will we put this into the perspective of the National Health Insurance Plan that will come? Or how can we put this into perspective if we look at the Batupele principles? Colleagues, so that is a very brief discussion of how you can apply the strategic management decision-making process into the South African healthcare system. If you ever get such a question in an assignment or in a assessment, I actually want to promise you that you will, then please take some trouble to adhere to the request to identify your industry. I need to see that you know your industry, that you know in which industry you are working, and that you know that industry. Secondly, it will be important for
Jock? Jock? Jock?
Okay, I'm going to continue. This concludes our session. There will be some question time available. From my side, I will also spend some time with my students here for some question time. There will also be now time for the facilitators to engage with our students for the assignments and to sign the attendance register. In conclusion, I want to thank all of you that adopted going to new study centers this year in South Africa to be able to participate in these whiteboard sessions. As I've indicated beforehand, these slides will now be available on eFundi. It will also be next week available via Facebook for our students. So you have now the opportunity to become part of a whole new, technologically advanced venture in our nursing education. And I also want to confirm to our facilitators for NSMT311 that we have received new textbooks for you, and Annemarie Coetzee already posted or couriered these textbooks to you. If you haven't received it yet, I am convinced that you will receive it very early next week. Thank you very much.